Have you ever wondered if your dog sleeps beside you simply because the bed is warmer? Most people assume that's the reason. But canine behavior research suggests something far more meaningful. Every night, when your dog chooses to sleep close to you, they may be sending messages that most owners never realize are there. It isn't just about comfort, it's about survival, instincts, trust, and a unique emotional bond that they reserve for you alone. And perhaps the most surprising part is this. If your dog suddenly stops sleeping next to you one day, the reason behind that change could be far more important than you think. Stay until the end of this video, because the final discovery may completely change the way you see your dog. But that leads to an even more interesting question. If warmth isn't the main reason, why do dogs keep choosing to sleep beside you instead of in other cozy spots around the house? Remember, sleep is the most vulnerable state for almost any animal. In the wild, a sleeping animal cannot constantly watch for danger or react quickly to threats. That is why a dog's survival instincts naturally drive them to seek out the safest possible place to rest. So, when your dog walks past the sofa, ignores a familiar corner of the room, passes by their favorite bed, and then settles down right beside you, they are making a very meaningful choice. Research on the bond between dogs and their owners suggests that where a dog chooses to sleep often reflects where they feel safest. In other words, when your dog sleeps next to you, they may be quietly saying, "You are the safest place I know." But what many dog owners never realize is this. When your dog sleeps beside you, it isn't just your dog who feels safer. You and your dog are actually influencing each other's bodies. Studies have shown that when dogs are close to the person they are most bonded with, their stress hormone levels drop significantly. What's fascinating is that a similar response occurs in humans as well. Heart rates slow down, breathing becomes steadier, the body gradually relaxes. After hundreds of nights spent sleeping near each other, dogs begin to learn your normal breathing patterns, heart rhythm, and emotional state. That is why many dogs seem to sense when you are anxious, sad, or unwell before you have said a single word. This is no longer just an animal seeking comfort. It is two living beings quietly helping regulate each other's emotions. But what scientists discovered next is even more remarkable. But that still isn't the most remarkable part. Because when your dog sleeps beside you every night, there's a good chance they believe they are performing an important job. Pay attention to where your dog chooses to sleep. Some lie near the bedroom door. Some curl up at their owner's feet. Others prefer to press against their owner's back or sleep close to their head. And none of this is random. Dogs descended from pack-living ancestors where someone always had to stay alert while the rest of the group rested. That instinct has never completely disappeared. A dog sleeping near the door may be keeping watch over the entrance. A dog lying behind you may be covering your blind spot. In their mind, you are not just their owner. You are part of their pack, and they have a responsibility to protect you. If this story is making you see your dog in a completely different way, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the fascinating discoveries still to come. But what a dog's sleeping position reveals goes even deeper than a protective instinct. And that is where things become even more fascinating. Because a dog's sleeping position doesn't just reveal whether they are protecting you. It can also reveal how much they trust you. If your dog curls up into a small ball while sleeping beside you, it often means they feel safe, but still retain a little of their natural caution. If they stretch out completely, extending their legs and exposing their belly, that is one of the strongest signs of trust a dog can show. In the animal world, the belly is the most vulnerable part of the body. Only animals that feel completely secure are willing to leave it exposed. And if your dog sleeps with their back facing, you don't assume they are ignoring you. In fact, it is quite the opposite. It is a tremendous compliment. Because in pack behavior, turning your back on someone is a way of saying, "I trust that you won't hurt me." But there is an even deeper sign of attachment that many dog owners never notice. And there is a sign of attachment that goes even deeper than trust. It happens when a dog begins to change its own daily rhythm because of you. A dog's ancestors were naturally most active at dawn and dusk. Yet dogs that form strong bonds with their owners gradually adjust their internal clocks to match the rhythms of human life. They sleep when you sleep. They wake when you wake. And many even seem to know you're about to get out of bed before your alarm clock has a chance to ring. At first, that may not sound particularly remarkable, but think about what it means. An animal that spent thousands of years evolving around its own natural routine quietly changes its habits to share its life with a single human being. They do not do this because they are forced to. They do it because they want to be close to you for as much of their lives as possible. But what is even more astonishing is that throughout this process, they are also learning how to read your emotions. And that is why so many dogs seem to understand their owner's emotions in a way that feels almost magical. Have you ever had a terrible day, told no one about it, and yet the moment you walked through the door, your dog came straight over to be by your side? That is not simply a coincidence. Scientists have discovered that dogs can detect incredibly subtle changes in human behavior and physiology. They notice shifts in your scent, your breathing patterns, your posture, and even the brief expressions that flash across your face. After spending hundreds of nights sleeping near you, they gradually learn what normal looks like for you. So when something changes even slightly, they often notice it immediately. That is why many dogs become unusually attentive when their owners are feeling sad, stressed, anxious, or unwell. But there is one final signal that may be more important than all the others, and it is a signal that every dog owner should pay attention to. This final sign may be the most important lesson in the entire video. If your dog has slept beside you for months or even years and then suddenly stops, don't assume it means nothing. Dogs rarely change important habits without a reason. One of the first possibilities to consider is their health. When dogs are in pain or feeling unwell, many instinctively seek out quiet places where they can rest alone. It is an ancient survival behavior, one that helps them hide signs of weakness. Sometimes, a dog no longer sleeping beside you may be the only way they know how to tell you that something is wrong. But health is not the only possible explanation. A new family member, a new pet, moving to a different home, or even small changes in your daily routine. Things that seem completely ordinary to us can sometimes create significant stress for a dog, and in some cases the reason is emotional. A frightening experience in the bedroom, a sudden loud noise, or an event that made them feel less secure than they once did. The most important thing is to pay attention, to observe, to listen, because when a dog changes where it sleeps, it is not trying to upset you, it is trying to communicate. And perhaps more than anything else, that is what your dog has been quietly doing throughout the years you have shared together. If your dog loves sleeping beside you every night, leave a 1-inch the comments below. I'd love to know how many people are beginning to realize that this is more than just a habit. It is a message of love that their dog has been sending all along. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about all of this is, your dog was never really looking for a warm bed. If warmth was all they needed, they would have many other choices. What they are looking for is safety, peace, the presence of the person they trust most in the world. Each time they curl up beside you, each time their breathing slows as they fall asleep, each time they press close to you at night. It is not just a habit, it is a choice they make again and again. Because in your dog's mind, you are not just the person who feeds them, not just the person who takes them for walks. You are the place where they feel safest. So tonight, if your dog comes to your side before falling asleep, take 1 second to appreciate that moment, because to them, it is not just a place to sleep, it is where they feel they belong.